A lot of people talk about leadership pipelines like it's some sort of mysterious thing leadership has to approve in a secret meeting somewhere. But what you just heard, that is the pipeline. Interns, succession planning, getting someone on a stage, making the introduction, no gatekeeping, actually protecting people while they're learning. So, if individuals are already doing all that work, what needs to change at the industry level so it's not so hard to access leadership in the first place? If you could change one thing about how Fleet builds leadership and opportunity, what would it be and what would it unlock?
The things in leadership that I'm finding is it's really easy to put somebody in a position and then tell them what they need to do and then holding them accountable for what you told them to do. Does that make sense? When you give somebody a position, you put them in a position, they inherit what's going on, they inherit the situation, and then they have to literally shift the steering on a huge ship. And then all of a sudden it's like, what job are you doing? You're not doing enough. It's like, hold on, I'm trying to steer an entire ship right here with a very tiny rudder, and you're holding me accountable for the decisions that somebody made before me, and I have to turn this whole thing around. That's the type of thing that I would change. And then it's like, oh, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. And then you do it that way. And then they go, oh, why did they do it that way? I don't know why they did it that way. And then nobody wants to step in and say, oh, no, I told them to do it that way. And then that person is taking the fault. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it specifically with my cousin. He's dealing with that in his industry. That's what he's doing. And that's what he's dealing with. So that's the type of thing that I would shift. It's, you know what, if you're going to put people in a position, put them in a position and lift them up, help them grow, help them develop, help them get there, and protect them for a while. Give them a grace period. You know, that time in a video game where, you know, as soon as you respawn, you're impervious. For those first little bit, you kind of blink a little bit. That's the Nintendo, Super Nintendo thing. You blink a little bit, showing that you can't be hurt in that little moment. You know, a lot of these people need those moments. They need invincibility moments. They need, you know, Super Mario star moments where they're impervious and they can continue to move and they know that they're protected.
If I could change one thing about how the fleet industry builds leadership and pipelines, I would formalize sponsorship and earlier leadership exposure. We need more intentional pathways, especially for women, especially for people of color, for them to own budgets, to lead initiatives, and to take accountability for real outcomes, for advocacy to be heard, to be recognized. Opportunity shouldn't depend on proximity. It should, be built with purpose. For me, that's a part of honoring the progress, to continue to expand what leadership looks like in Fleet and making sure that the next generation sees themselves in it.
I think having more visibility of leadership training classes that are available. There's so much that's available there. I don't think there's one central location that you can go to see what classes are available.
And if there's like a leadership pathway for those that want to go into leadership, they have the fleet manager pathway, which has some leadership components. But what about those that truly want to be in a C-suite, or they want to be a supervisor, they want to be a manager? What are those trainings and opportunities for people that they want to continue moving up?
The only thing I would really change within the industry, I really can't change things in the industry, but I can start a process of change, is the pipeline of leaders. Making sure that I'm being really proactive in making sure my succession planning is up to par and our leadership pipelines are wide open. Looking at the best in people, not looking at some of their shortfalls and shortcomings. Utilizing their skills and enhance their ability to move up. And again, take over where I'm going to lead.
Open that pipeline. Open that pipeline. Politics have soured us. And I mean that, politics in all caps. It doesn't matter if you're talking about government related or negative and ill-intended nepotism. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the gatekeeping that happens within organizations. Politics is ruining lives, period. And I'm not making a political statement. I'm making a pro-person statement when I say that. And one of the biggest issues in that is that there are people who are standing in someone's way. Get out the way. We make zero progress as individuals and certainly collectively, hence the industry, or as an organization or as a community, if somebody is intent on just getting in the way for the sake of limiting someone. Get out the way. So creating those there's still so many pipelines and channels that need to be created. And there are those that are there, but somebody's, standing on one side of the door playing games to keep people from walking through that. But also back to, and thank you for these mentoring questions, mentor down, mentor across. Some opportunities we get to mentor up, but to prepare, that needs to be our new paradigm. That is the proper pipeline paradigm, is to develop in every direction and for all people. For all people. If you see that young Latino, that young Black man or woman, or somebody who's your same age, but they're hungry and they show up on time and they are exhibiting effort, pour into them the good stuff, and vice versa in every other direction. We got to stop limiting ourselves. If I limit you, I'm limiting me. And I'm limiting who knows how many others by being insecure, foolish, blind, any number of things that is keeping us from really growing. And that's what it would unlock, is an insane amount of growth on both the micro and the macro level, and that entire strip that connects the two. So let's truly be creative, because don't know if y'all realize this, that's the only direction that life goes, is forward. It don't go backward.
Fleet moves the world. So yeah, who gets to lead it matters. And after hearing all of this, I keep coming back to the same thing. Visibility isn't a spotlight. It's trust. It's access. It's who gets pulled into the real conversations, who gets backed up out loud, and who gets protected long enough to grow into the role instead of getting chewed up the second things get hard. And that's the part I don't want us to only talk about once a year. This episode, Looking Beyond Black History Month, isn't about a moment in time. It's about momentum. It's about keeping leadership, mentorship, and opportunity on the table all year, in every room and in every part of this industry. So if you're new here, hit subscribe, because we've got more stories to tell, more leaders to learn from, and more voices we need to keep hearing. And if you want more right now, go watch Shades of Fleet New Voices. That's where I kicked this whole thing off. The next episode focuses on women driving change, so stay tuned, and I'll see you next month.